I'm Glen Mitchell, and I was in that band.
Welcome. I'm Grady Sandlin. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
How's everything?
Everything's brilliant.
Yeah?
Brilliant, yeah.
You survived the holidays?
Yeah, it was hard. The holidays were hard because we have a newborn baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you. She's just 4 weeks. So obviously we're used to having nobody in the house. So now we've got a beautiful 4-week-old baby. And I have another daughter who still lives in England, but we brought her over with her 2 kids. So 2 grandkids, my other daughter, screaming baby. It was like, it was a lot this Christmas. And they, my daughter and grandkids left a couple of days ago, and I miss them, but it's a little bit of a relief as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the last time we talked, you were in Costa Rica, was it? Where were you?
Key West.
Key West.
Key West, yeah.
What were you doing out there?
I play in Key West a lot. That was a weird transition for me musically, because that all happened through COVID. I started playing in Key West. So I do about 9 weeks every year. I sing there, usually with my wife. We have a duo. We're called Royal South. And we'll play mostly in a bar called Hog's Breath Saloon. It's fantastic. But the reason we ended up there was because of COVID. And it's a bit of a crazy story, but during COVID, obviously, like everybody else, all of our work was cancelled. And what was going to be, a week and then 15 days just turned into forever, as we all know.
Right.
But we had a vacation booked to go to Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. And you had to take a test. And at that point, the test cost like, I don't know, $100 each or something. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Each way, And so I said to my wife, why don't we go somewhere domestic where we don't have to take this test? Because then we'll say $400, and that's $400 worth of beer I can get when we get there,
No doubt.
Like joking. And I said, have you ever been to Key West? And she hadn't. So we went down there. And before I went, I sent a couple of emails, and Hog's Breath Saloon got back to me, and they said that they could put us in the afternoon, just like a kind of audition, if you will, for an hour. He said, I can't pay you, but I'll give you some food and I'll buy you a few beers. So we went down there, and at the end of that hour, he came up with his calendar and he booked us for 9 weeks. Now, when I say that's a transition for us, it's because before then, we didn't do covers gigs, really. We just did theatres and original material. And then all of a sudden, we're in a beach bar and having to sing some Jimmy Buffett, which I love, but we had to very much pivot because of COVID into being more covers, which I'm not hating. We still do original songs. I just want to make people happy.
Right.
So now a lot of my work is in beach bars. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And so you went solo?
The reason I'm playing solo now, I've always played solo, even when I was playing for the big country artists. And then when I played with my wife, I would still do solo work. But now with the pregnancy and then having the baby, I've kind of ramped that up a bit. So I'm doing more solo work now than I ever have. Now, she thinks that we're going to ramp our duo stuff back up. And I sincerely hope that we will, but having a little baby is going to be more difficult. I think there's going to be a lot more of my solo stuff and less of the duo stuff.
Sure. You just it'll be better planned, and you have it'll be a change.
Yeah. And traveling with the baby will be difficult,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've been around some people who've done it, and it's like just requires, instead of a road manager, a nanny. You bring someone who can stay back at the hotel with the kid, and
exactly.
So you can be focused on work. And
yeah, I was joking with Sarah Beth. That's my wife, Sarah Beth.
Okay.
I was joking. I mean, can we even afford to do that? It sounds to me like we're going to literally have to be doing shows, and you'll have little Susie on your hip.
Pretty much. Yeah. You got to teach her to sing real fast. Get her a bass, something.
Right.
Put her to work. How'd you meet your wife?
I used to play for a band called Lone Star. It's a country band. And Sarah Beth, after I left that band, several years later, Sarah Beth was being produced by the keyboard player, Dean Sams. And just out of the blue one day, he called me to play guitar for her for a showcase for record labels and publishers down in Nashville, where I was living. And so I went down there and I met her and her awesome team. It was really fantastic. And the showcase went really well and we became friends, and she would just be calling me from the road. Because at that point she was on the road doing a radio tour with another girl playing with her, Kristen Ball. She's fantastic. You should look her up. And but they would call me from the road, and I don't know. She got back to town and we started dating.
Wonderful, man. She writes then as well. You both write?
Yeah, we write together. Yeah, she hasn't written with many people other than me. But yeah, we've written for all of our albums and EPs.
Cool.
And the Royal South stuff too, yeah.
That's great. So like, was it a little of both? Like there was a little bit of a creative thing, like attraction.
Absolutely.
Like y'all worked well together. And
well, when I met her, I was playing for Radney Foster, which I loved.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, like
he's fantastic.
Longtime hero of mine as a songwriter and a vocalist. So I loved doing that tour with Radney. And when that wrapped up, I got calls for other tours, but I decided that I was going to go with Sarah Beth because I believe she has one of the best voices I've ever heard. And she's very driven and she had a wonderful team behind her. And I thought, I'm going to try and be a part of this and help this incredibly talented young lady be a big star, because I knew everybody in Nashville. I was always getting the calls. I knew that I could take her to people who could make things happen for her. So I was so confident that was going to happen because she's so good, and I knew everybody I needed to know. I'm like, this is a shoo-in, Yeah. But it didn't really work out like that. It was so crazy. It's like really hard to get them to even listen.
Yeah.
It was bizarre because we had all the pieces in place. Everything was great. We'd even recorded all the music. It was crazy to me, and it was frustrating, very frustrating. I
mean, yeah, that's original music, and like you mentioned, just making people happy, and sort of there's some resignation in that, and it is it can be like freeing too. But once you're in that lane, or for me anyway, getting into that lane with my band, now when I do get to make original music with people, I'm just like, well, I love this. I love these people. I care about this music. I do it for a different reason.
Right.
There's more personal satisfaction involved than it just happened this week. Someone asked us, we come to Deep Ellum and play with our band, and I had something, a hold on the calendar, and I was like, let me see if it'll come through. And then and it didn't. And so I said, okay, well, we'll go do this thing. And then we booked it, and it was like we're texting the person, but my buddy Ryan and I were together, and I texted him. I was like, yeah, we're in, we're good. We'll be there. And then as soon as the thing was sent and it was done, I said, I do not want to go to Deep Ellum and play under any circumstances, except it's with you.
Right.
And then the guy who asked us, I love him too. Was like, so I'll go, it's like, Josh Campbell, if you're listening, I'll only do it for you, and for Ryan, I'll just like, if anyone asked if Ray, I know the owner of the bar. If he asked, Ray's Reitman had played there before or very early on, and if he asked, do you guys want a gig here? I'd say no, thanks. Load in is a nightmare. The hours are crazy. There's crowds. There's whatever. The threat of violence. There's just everything. Everything I would want to avoid. I could deal with the crowds.
Yeah.
But I want easy load in, lots of money.
Yeah.
Good hours, early hours.
Sounds perfect.
These are the things I want. So and then, but again, for the original music, for my, to go and play my friends' songs who I love, whose music I love and have always loved, it's different set of expectations.
Yeah. So with me, I'd always played original music in England, never really been in a covers band. I mean, we did a few covers, but it was predominantly original music all the time. I moved to America. It was always original music. And then I started getting big gigs playing guitar where I wasn't, in the spotlight or anything. And they weren't my songs, but I was just a guitar player for always major record labels. And so I had no real experience of being in a covers band. And the way that you're treated as a musician when you're playing for one of these big stars is crazy. They treat you like gold, right? They treat you like absolute gold. And you can show up at the same venue a few months later with an independent artist opening, but you're with the opener now. You're the same player, same gear, everything is exactly the same about you. And some of these places will treat you like crap. It's just so bizarre to me. And you'll remember the people. And, I was just here a few months ago.
They're like, yeah, but now you're nobody.
Now you're nobody. Like instantly nobody, yeah. And I've learned that a couple of times in Nashville, really quite shockingly, especially my first real shock. And it messed me up, to be honest. It messed me up for a lot of years. But in 2005, I got a record deal with a friend of mine on Sony as a duo, and it was a fantastic project. It was so good, and we were so pumped about it. And so we were signed to record 4 songs, like a development thing, if you want. And so we recorded them. They're incredible. Buzz was going all around Nashville. Everyone was all about us and all about me. Everyone wanted to write with us. Everyone was like buying us drinks. Everyone was celebrating with us all the time. Like we were unbelievably popular for a long time while we were working on this project, and this buzz was going around. And then for reasons that I didn't know at the time, but the label dropped us, and instantly, I mean, I'm talking instantly, everyone in Nashville didn't give a crap about me anymore. It was just such a shock where I was duped into believing like these people really like me,
right?
That they really think I'm talented and they really do want to write with me. And, and my confidence was at an almighty high. And then just overnight, like boom. And because the label never told us why they dropped us, it really messed with my head. I'm like, well, it must be us, must be me.
Yeah.
Did I do something? Was the project no good? Are the songs no good? What's going on? No one ever told us. I learned years later when I was band leader for Darius Rucker. We went on the road with a radio promo girl, and she said, Glenn, I was in the room the day they dropped that project. I'm like, really? Please tell me what's happened. She said, well, everybody loved you. Everyone loved you. They loved the music. Everybody was fully behind it, but they didn't want to work with your producer. I said, okay, well, why didn't they just say, we don't like your producer, find another producer? The thing was, the producer was an artist on their label, and they didn't want to confront him and rock that. It was easier for them just to drop our project than to tick him off because he was in a very successful act on the same label. So, and that's what happened. But I didn't find that out till like 3 years later.
Yeah. It's a long time.
And I'm telling you, it messed with my head.
Sure. You learn, oh, wait. I mean, it wasn't that it's like all those things can still be true, but people want to write with you because they think you're their way in.
Absolutely.
I mean, talent aside, there can be someone they can very, very talented that they want to write with, but if they don't see any way forward with it, then especially in a town like Nashville, why mess with it at all, right?
Right. Absolutely. Another songwriting story is I wrote a hit song, as you know, with the artist, which is the easiest way to get a cut, obviously, is to write it with the guy, with the voice, with the record deal. Yeah. And that's what happened. We wrote it on his tour bus, on his radio tour, in fact. And I've completely forgotten where I was going with it. Oh, no. So anyway, I didn't have a publishing deal. which was great for me because it means I make all the publishing money too.
Mm-hmm.
But I always wanted a publishing deal. I wanted other artists to record my stuff. So I went down to ASCAP, one of the performing rights organizations, who are supposed to be there to help you. I'd been with ASCAP forever. And I walk in and I knew that I shouldn't take the guy too many songs. I wanted him to help me. I wanted him to listen to my songs and help me. And I thought, well, I'll just record 4 songs. It turned into me putting there's a CD, 19 songs, as many as you could cram on a CD. And I'm thinking, well, if he just listens to the first couple, right? So I go in for this meeting with the guy. And I said, I've put a lot of songs on here, but if you just listen to the first couple. And he sets it down. And he goes, okay, so what do you need from me? I'm like, well, I'd love you to set me up some meetings with some publishers or maybe some other writers. And I just really want to get this songwriting thing going. He says, well, who are you writing with? And I named him some people. And he goes, how old are you? And I said, I was 35 or something. He goes, well, you're too old. I said, I'm too old to write songs. He's like, yeah. He said, how old are these people you're writing with? I'm like, I don't know. They're all ages. He's like, well, you need to go and find some young guys to write with, and young producers, and people with names and who are making waves. And when you are doing that, then come back to me with those songs. I said, but what about these songs? He said, no one wants those songs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you haven't even listened to them.
Yep.
He said, I don't need.
There's no name attached to them.
Right.
Right.
I don't need to. I said to him, well, I'll just leave this here for you so you can listen to it later. And he picked it up and he handed it out. He says, I don't need to listen to it. This is a guy supposed to be helping me as a songwriter.
Right.
And his advice to me was literally, don't even bother writing anything unless it's with somebody who already has a deal, a producer or someone who's up and coming. It's all about who you're writing with.
So when you get hired to do these other things, you drop some really great names. Radney Foster is one of the greatest writers I've ever heard of.
Absolutely.
Is it frowned upon to, once you're in his band and you've kind of got his ear, to be like, hey, would you like to write something with me?
Yeah. Now Radney certainly would never frown upon something like that. And he's a very helpful dude, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But after you've spent enough years in Nashville, it's kind of a given that you don't reach out to your boss, essentially.
Sure.
If they want to, they'll reach out to you. And so in the background, a sound check or whatever, you might be singing one of your songs to try and get their attention. Mm-hmm. But to actually go up to your artist and be like, hey, I wrote this song, I think it'd be really great for you. It's a bit of a faux pas. And
because everyone could be doing that, and it would be a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah, and I don't think you'd last very long.
Sure.
That. You'd just get on people's nerves. So I never really did much of that. But Randy did help me with some advice when we were with him. And I wrote some songs, not with him, but while I was out on the road with him, that he would give me advice over. And yeah, he's a really great guy.
It comes across. I've seen his show, him performing the Del Rio, record, and which is great. And then, a handful of other. Well,
that's the tour I did with him. He re-released Del Rio, Texas, 1959 as an acoustic thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went out acoustically. It was just Radney and me and a fiddle player, dear friend of mine called Jessica Ray. So we went out as an acoustic trio, and it was just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful time.
Yeah. Those songs are unbelievable. The record's fantastic.
I know. And it kind of lives forever,
Yeah. Yeah. And then, the show I saw, I knew that record and I knew I would know some more. But there were ones you go, I didn't know he wrote this, or I forgot about this, or whatever. It's just, and he comes across a really genuine, sweet guy, and had his son, kind of, tech, and then came out and played, the finale of the show with him and everything. So yeah, it's very obvious the kind of person he is. Yeah. And he's, obviously he's a Texan who's lived in Nashville forever, and he's very big in Nashville, but in his heart, though, he's very, very Texan. Mm-hmm. Like Texas is everything to him. So a lot of our shows were in Texas. He
taught me about Tex-Mex.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's quite the connoisseur when it comes to Tex-Mex food.
Well, we all are,
He would pull up to these like little shacks that were like falling down. He'd be like, "Trust me, this is the best Tex-Mex food right here," And he was always right. But everywhere, every day, Tex-Mex food.
Yeah. If you didn't have someone who knew to vouch for you, you'd never go into those places,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So how do you end up in Nashville you born in London?
Yeah.
How do you end up in Nashville?
Well, it's always been country music. My dad had a country music band. My dad had a fantastic voice. I wish I could sing half as good as my dad. He had an amazing voice, but he always sang country music. I started in his band when I was a child. And then I started writing my own songs. And I joined some other country bands and would do a little bit of touring, but none of the bands I was playing with wanted to do my songs. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was a kid. I was literally 16 years old and 17 years old.
There's somewhat of a country scene there.
It's huge now, but back in the day, it wasn't very big. It was kind of like a jazz scene is here. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean, if you want to go out and find some jazz music, you can find it.
Yeah. There's gigs.
There are gigs. But
there's venues. Yeah.
There's not many. Mm-mm. And that's what country music always was in England. But by the time I turned 19, I was like, okay, no one wants to record my songs. So I'm going to start my own band. And I recorded my own songs that did really good in England. They were in all the stores. I did great. I was winning all the awards. It's fantastic, but there's very much a glass ceiling that you just cannot break through in England. You can only be so big. And once I'd hit that, I sat down with a dear friend of mine. His dad, who actually recently passed away, is very, very sad, but he was a huge mentor of mine. And his son played the drums for me. And he's literally the best drummer I've ever heard. Really, you can look him up later. He's ridiculous, and he was.
I hate him already.
He was playing for me, and his dad said to me, "Glenn, what are you going to do now?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to record some more music. I'm hoping to go to Nashville and record an album in Nashville." And he said, "And then what are you going to do with that?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to put it in the stores." And he's like, "Glenn, you've already reached the ceiling here. You're not going to get any bigger. You either need to move to Nashville, or you need to join a rock band like Carl's going to do, like my friend." I was like, well, I don't really want to be in a rock band. Country music was my life. I was all about Keith Whitley and Randy Travis and Ricky Skaggs, And as much as I liked surface rock, and by surface rock, I mean I liked Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet. I liked Def Leppard Hysteria. I liked the Metallica Black Album. Mm-hmm. It didn't really go a lot deeper than that. Sure. It was all the very obvious stuff that I enjoyed. And I didn't really want to pursue a rock thing. So I made the very hard decision to move to Nashville, which...
at that age, 20?
I was older then. I'd been touring. I was about 27.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, there was some time had gone by.
Yeah, you had time to think about it?
Of touring in England. I was touring the whole time, doing really good. And I did record that album, which I'll come back to. Mm-hmm. And I did come back to England with that album. But when I moved to Nashville, I was beyond lucky. And I never realized it was happening. Like, I didn't realize the struggle that most people go through when they move to Nashville. Mm-hmm. Because I just walked into amazing stuff. It was just bizarre. I walked into, I started a duo with an incredibly talented vocalist, and we were playing a bunch of awesome casinos and doing original material. And it was just fantastic. And then I joined, when that didn't work out, I joined Billy Currington's band. And, Billy just came out to see me one day and offered me the gig. And then after I played with Billy for a few years, everyone was calling me. So I would just... every time something would go a little stale, I would just bounce to the next one. And it was just absolutely wonderful. So anyway, that's how I ended up in Nashville, was just my friend's dad told me I needed to. And it was some incredibly great advice from me. And I was very lucky. Yeah.
Sort of like, probably seems kind of obvious now, but,
right. Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, most of the people I know who go to Nashville are from here, and very few of them stay out there.
Right.
A lot of people go out there for some people get a gig and move out there because it just makes sense, and they either come back because the gig ended, or it just makes it, for whatever reason, they can do whatever they need to do here and still be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or they get out, they leave here, figure I've done everything I can do here. I'm going to go out. I can go out there for, sunnier slopes or whatever. And then come back and go, it was hell and I didn't like it. And I couldn't get any work and I couldn't get my foot in the door anywhere. And so it's interesting to me that you come from London to Nashville to now, I mean, I understand domesticity and getting married and having a child and all this stuff, and her roots are here in Texas.
Absolutely. We moved to Rockwall because her parents lived there, and we just had a child, and we knew we were going to need help.
Yep.
We didn't really have anybody we could turn to for that level of help in Nashville. So and family is everything.
Absolutely.
So to move down here and have the child was the right thing to do. And it was very worrying for me to be so far away from all the gigs that we had. And so we've literally had to drop most of them. I'll never drop Key West. I'll fly there and make no money. I don't care. I'm going to Key West. It's like the greatest place on earth.
The pictures you posted there, like you look very, very happy.
Oh, it's unbelievable. But the other places, to travel from Texas, they're not necessarily financially viable right now. So we're having to build and start again here in Texas. But you're talking about Texas artists. A lot of my favorite, almost all my favorite artists are Texas artists. And now that I live in America, though, I feel like Texans in some way have a bit of an advantage over other states. And the reason I say that is because there is so much great music being made here, but loads of places to play. There's an incredible, thriving music scene here. And as you know, there's tons of bands that make an incredible living rolling around in tour buses, and they never leave the states of Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is.
There's nowhere else in the country that has that.
Right.
So these Texas artists, they can do really great here. And then I think some of them feel like, okay, I'm going to go to Nashville and make this even bigger. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But they've always got this incredible Texas music scene to come back to.
Yeah, there's a great audience. There's plenty of venues.
I can't believe how receptive the people have been to my music.
Oh, yeah.
It's been absolutely lovely playing here in Texas.
Yeah, there's a really solid like fan base, people who love the music, and then there's other artists. I feel like I don't know. I shy away from people who I feel like are competitive, and I get that feeling. I know sometimes where people go, well, who think we're competing. I personally feel like I'm competing with myself. There's not anyone that I have to step over to get somewhere, or like if only this person wasn't there, then I could have their slot. I don't think of it that way.
I always felt very competitive, but in the way that you're talking about, where when I was band leader for those bands, if we would do a festival and the band before us or after us was better than us, right? I'd be on fire.
Sure.
Angry. Not at that band, and I was never going to diss that band. I was going to be like, they are amazing. But I would get back in the rehearsal studio with our band. I'd be like, okay, we've got to up our game. Yeah. Because I could not stand not feeling like we were the best band.
Right.
So I did definitely feel competitive.
We used to have I used to have a thing with that in a rock band. It would be like, after a 3-band bill, we'd be like, we won.
Right.
Like we won. And it's like if you had the middle slot and you weren't the headliner, it was like, we all knew. It was like,
you have to ramp it up.
We have to completely decimate.
Yeah.
And make sure they don't want to try and follow it.
Yeah, and there's nothing, malicious about that feeling at all. I used to like it. That really was my competition. I'm not, I've never really been into sports or anything. Music was where I could compete.
Yeah.
And so it always felt good to me when I felt like, we slayed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's still, again, like I still feel that. To me, it's like this, now it's sort of how into it is the audience? How well are we controlling their night, or how well are they buying into what we're doing?
Yeah.
And that's sort of, because sometimes you can play great, the audience isn't really there with you, and it just doesn't work. Sometimes you're having an off night, and I don't care. It doesn't matter if the audience is loving it, but I know we're playing shit. Yeah, that's a loss. I don't like that.
And a lot of times when you're playing in a band that doesn't have the ticket sales, right? If people show up and it's no cover, they didn't even really know who the band was going to be when they walk in, but there's a band in the venue. Okay. That's very different than having someone who already knows your music, wants to come out and see you play, have paid X amount for their ticket, and they show up. They're already into you.
Yeah.
Before you've even played a note. And it's much easier to entertain those people and help them have a great time because they're literally there to see you. But when it's just some random person in a bar, it's a challenge to reach them. And I enjoy that challenge.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge to reach them and get the whole bar really hopping when nobody ever knew who you were before you walked in. And that's another transition for me. And here in Texas, these gigs are going fantastic, but I'm always wondering about, how could I have been better? How could I have given these people a better evening? And so right now I'm wondering, because I never want to be strictly a covers act. I always want to have some original music in there. And I always want to, release and music and write music. But I'm wondering now if I won't advertise my shows as the first hour is all original music. And then after that, I'll sing you whatever you want.
Sure.
Like let's have a party. That's what I'm playing with in my mind right now. I might start reaching out to the venues and saying, this is what I want to do. Is this cool with you? The first hour is me. Next 2 hours, I'll sing Sweet Caroline if I have to.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even when I was doing bar gigs as in a original band, we would try to do some ratio of to me, like throwing in covers, it was less I don't know, less about, it was like you could get the audience on your side that way because you might even just be throwing a little bit of context their way. If we were going to, if we did a song by Bruce Springsteen or something, you might go like, this is kind of where we're coming from. And you're giving them a little bit of a context. Do you just like, do you like this? This is sort of what inspires us or whatever.
Right.
And then other times there would be things that would be obvious, like we'll do strictly original things and maybe we'll throw in one.
Yeah. Try a couple.
As much for our own sake as anyone else's.
Absolutely. Because it's hard. It's even hard for us, isn't it? When you go out and see someone you don't know and they're singing songs you don't know, even if they're really good songs, you can only get away with, I don't know, 3 or 4 in a row before you want to hear something you know. So you're going to have to slip something in there.
Yeah.
To bring them back in.
Yeah. And that to me is like, especially in the country genre or something, there's some part of you, even when I hear a new song, I almost think if you're going to write within this style, it should still sound familiar. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think some of Radney's songs do that. Like, Just Call Me Lonesome. Like the first time I heard that, I thought, this is an old song. He's revived, like he pulled this off of George Jones B-side from the, 60s that no one knows.
I hate to let you know this, Grady, but That is an old song now. And
yeah, exactly.
And we are old.
Yes, perfect. I knew it. Yeah, exactly. It is old. But yeah, there's something to that as well. Like there has to be a hook of familiarity to it or something like that. When you write, is it just a free flow? What do you have to kind of think about? Will this work for the current audience? I don't know what to.
Yeah, I've never done that really. I just write what's in my heart, and then after the fact, I'll think to myself, maybe Chris Young would sound great singing this, but I don't go into it thinking I'm going to write a song for Chris Young, which is the opposite to how a lot of people work in Nashville, certainly. And for many years in Nashville, I was writing 2, sometimes 3 songs a day. And that was a transition for me as well, because up until that point, I would only write when I was inspired.
And for yourself.
And for myself. But even when I was writing 2 songs, 3 songs a day, I still was just writing for whatever was in my heart. It wasn't even necessarily for me. It was just what was coming out of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the first time where your songwriting appointment is 10 to 1 and then 2 to 5, right? Those are your 2 slots every, and it felt really weird at the beginning to just show up with nothing, or you'd have some little ideas scribbled down and okay, now it's time to work. It felt really weird to begin with. And for the longest time, I would take ideas with me and share it with my co-writer, and you would like go through different titles and ideas, and you talk them over, and then you rest on one and you'd start hitting that one. But after a few years, I started refusing to do that.
Yeah.
And I would show up in the room, and I was very much of the mindset, and I still am, that the song is, we are surrounded by songs all the time. There's a song right here, right now. Right? I don't need any of my old ideas. Just sit here, we'll talk for a couple of minutes, some little spark will happen, and we will create something out of nothing right now. That happens all the time, and that's what songwriting is to me now. It's very spontaneous, and I love it that way.
Yeah, that's the outlook of someone who's done it for a long time and done it very seriously, and did sit down and work at it long enough to come to that. Because there's a part of you probably when you're first getting going, you're like, I have to sit down and write for a couple times a day or several songs a day. I better go in loaded with something.
Absolutely.
I need something in the chamber, right? And then after a while you go, I don't.
Absolutely.
It's there.
That's exactly how it happens. And I'm not saying that the people go in with a great hook or a great title. I'm not saying they're wrong in any way. Sure. I'm just saying that I my evolution as a songwriter grew away from that. But that was never wrong. It's just not what I really do anymore.
So that song on the tour bus, how'd that come about?
Well, there's so many great stories about that. But we were on tour.
Radio tour, you said?
A radio tour. A radio tour is, for those of you that don't know, is basically the artist has a single, and Jason Michael Carroll was the artist. His first single was called Alyssa Lies. It was a fantastic song, incredibly sad. So sad that every time we sang it live, I would get emotional. It was so sad. And then you sing them your single live to the boss people, or the program directors and the people who make the decisions. And you sit down with your acoustic guitars, sing them your song, and then you sing a couple more that you are hoping to release in the future. And then you're done. And the only people in the room will be the program director, maybe the MD will be there too. There might be 2 people, but it's a very, very personal thing. And we were doing that all over the country, and everyone was saying the same thing. we love your first single, but there's not a second single on this whole album. And he had 10 songs in the album. It's like, you don't have a second single on it for us to play. So it's a bit Panic Stations. And it was so tiring, this tour all over the country. And I was asleep in my bunk on the bus. And I'm so grateful. The radio promo girl came and she shook me awake. And she said, Glenn, they've started writing a song in the front lounge. You should probably want to get in on this. And I was like, oh, yeah. I definitely want to write with Jason. I went down the front and they were like mumbling out some melody and stuff. And I sat down and I helped them. And again, there's no lyrics really, but out of thin air, we came up with the title "Living Our Love Song," and I wrote a whole bunch of other words, but the melody and stuff was already pretty much in stone with Jason and Tim. So I just like fleshed it out. And we wrote that song in about maybe 30 minutes. And then we show up at the next radio station and the radio girl's like, hey, they just wrote a song on the tour bus. And we were all kind of shocked because we didn't even really know it. You know, it's like, you know, when you first write a song, it's very hard to get all the way through it and remember how it goes, you know. So we're like, and she's like, yeah, sing that song you just wrote on the tour bus. And we're like, oh gosh, okay. So we sing the song, and the program director's like, that's an amazing song. I love that song. You should record that song. And so we started playing that song to every other radio station, even though it wasn't even on the album. And all the radio stations started calling the label saying, he hasn't got another single on that album, but we love that song they just wrote on the tour bus. So we got back, recorded it real quick, and that became the second single. Sony had already pressed 50,000 CDs ready to go of Jason's first album, and Living Our Love Song wasn't on it. And they threw them all in the trash and reprinted them. They took one of the songs off, put Living Our Love Song on, and did a rerun. Yeah, wow. 50,000 CDs.
Yeah, just somewhere in a landfill.
Yeah, crazy. But what I hear when I tell people, yeah, it took us 30 minutes, and then it made a lot of money. And people are like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do something where I could make so much money in 30 minutes. That's simply not what happens. What happens is you spend your whole life honing a craft to where there's a moment in time where there's still a lot of luck involved. There's all this skill that you've gained over your lifetime to get there. And then there's a little bit of luck in the room and some inspiration in the room. And then you can craft. The skill is to just take all these ideas and make it, craft it into a song. But it doesn't take 30 minutes. It takes a lifetime of honing your craft.
Right. It took your lifetime plus 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've been around writers and stuff who would just simply say, "Oh, I don't want to. I could do that. I could write hit songs if I wanted, but I don't want to." And I'd be like, "Well, you should just do one. Just write one. Let's see how it does. Come on, give it a try, or write a record like that. And if you can, why not?
Right.
But we all know that's there's like a certain amount of talent that goes in and just a whole bunch of luck. And I think it sounds like, because if that track had been buried in the next record or something, but you guys happened to be and hand it to your radio promoter.
Exactly.
Who was like, oh, this is great. And especially if the other song is really sad and that song's really happy.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a perfect, bit of sugar after the medicine to be like, come on, like, you just heard a real sad song. Let's hear this real happy song.
Exactly. If the label would have said, this is a great song for the second album, and they would have gone with other singles from Jason's first album, the whole project might have failed and the second album might never have been released at all.
Sure.
So, and there's lots of tiny little luck things, starting with the girl shaking me awake, which I'm so grateful for. Yeah.
Who knows if they'd ever even come up with a lyrical idea or what, I mean, might have just been like, oh, that's cool. We'll mess with that when we get home or something.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the lyrics are mine. So
sure.
I definitely had a lot of input. I love I love the melody and everything. And one of the best lines in the song is "Backwards boy and a fairy tale princess." That's Jason's line. So this, I'm not trying to take credit for the whole song, but "Living Our Love Song" was mine, and a lot of the rest of it. It was a good time.
Is it like, I know probably if you've written as many songs as you have, are there some that come easier, and then some that you have to work at more? And then do you have a preference? Is something more fulfilling? If a song just falls out onto the paper, is that just as fulfilling as something you really feel like you have to craft?
Yeah, it's very exciting when it happens that way. I often tell people that writing songs is the easiest thing in the world, and it's also the hardest thing in the world, because sometimes they just fall out of you and they're great, and other times you'll get half a song which you absolutely love, and it will literally take you years to hone that into being something that you're satisfied with, and it's painful. Like mentally, you'll be like holding your head over, like, oh, just trying so many different things and nothing's working, but you have something, and it's a nightmare. It's the hardest thing ever and the easiest thing ever.
Sure,
I don't know. It's crazy.
Did you ever find the publishing help you were looking for? You mentioned like having slots. Did you eventually find that?
I had several places offer me a publishing deal, but they all wanted my publishing for "Living Our Love Song," and at that point, by the time they offered it to me, it was in the top 10 at that point and rising. And I told them all no. I mean, it was several $100,000 that we're talking about giving away to these people.
Yeah.
To
work for them.
Yeah, to work for them. Exactly. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not doing that. You can have all my other songs
from this point forward, or all the others.
Literally everything else. You can have
one.
Everything else. But I did this. I've got the publishing on this. I'm not giving the publishing.
You didn't represent me then.
No. So I refused. And it just left me feeling a little bit bitter towards all of them.
Sure.
Because it was a money grab on their part, and my other songs. I mean, I don't think Living Our Love Song is my best song.
Sure.
By far. I've got tons of better songs than that. But again, they weren't interested in those songs because they weren't making any money. I haven't written those with huge artists. There's no big producer involved. It's the same story as the dude with ASCAP.
Right. You're still a nobody.
Almost pointless.
Except for one song.
Doesn't matter how good they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you, once you're there and do you kind of attempt to play that game a little bit? And do you try to seek out artists to write with? Did you try to play that game at all?
I'm ashamed to admit to you, Grady, that if I look back on my career and have any regrets at all, it's that I never really tried. Everything just fell in my lap. And I know that sounds so flippant. I mean, really. I mean, obviously, I tried when I was a child. I practiced guitar all the time, and I wrote a lot of songs, but I never went out too much, trying to be social or hustling. I never did any hustling, trying to get deals or anything. I was downtown singing my stuff, thinking, someone's going to come and, listen to this. And what was happening is people come downtown and they'd hear my guitar playing and they want me to play for them. But it didn't really happen with my songs, which I think some of my songs deserve.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, exactly. Not yet. Well, now I'm here in Texas. I'm going to release them myself, and I don't know. I'm just going to have my own fresh new career. I'll get a tour bus and do Texas and Oklahoma. Fantastic.
Yeah, there's people I know, because I've been in that. Before I did Raised Right Men, I used to travel around in bands of guys trying to make it up to the tour bus.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people out there who they're fans out there. And that's, if you're from Nashville, they do not care if you're not a part of this, the Texas, Oklahoma scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's, in some ways it's very warm and very welcoming, because it is not musically very narrow.
Right.
I think country music on its own, popular country music, can be kind of narrow. There's trends that are happening, and things that are and through all phases of it, you can trace it all the way back. We can sort of see what was happening at the time. No matter if someone really stands out or not, they're still kind of swimming in the same stream as everybody else. And within the Texas and Oklahoma thing, that matters. The genre matters less.
Right.
From what I was able to see, there were people who were doing bluesy things, rock and roll things, Americana things, Southern rock things, whatever, jam, even stuff of the kind of the jam scene. But as long as you were tied to this Texas music scene and you identified as that, they would welcome you in. It's welcoming in one way, and then exclusive in another. Was that if you weren't a part of that, they wanted nothing to do with you. They did not care.
Right. I get that. I'm hoping they'll be a little bit more welcoming to me. But something that it's very obvious, I know, but something I've always struggled with is I was born in England. I've got a funny accent, and I sing country music, and people seem to think that because of that, I can't be authentic in some way,
right?
Just because of where I was born, right? And it really frustrates me because in my mind, I don't have to have lived on a farm to be able to sing about youth. She thinks my tractor's sexy, right? I don't need to have been riding around on a tractor to convincingly portray that character. And this is just my opinion, but I feel like singing artists are akin to actors, okay? Because you're taking a story that isn't necessarily yours, and you're selling it, and you're moving people with your portrayal of the story.
Yeah.
A lot of big stars, some of our biggest stars, like George Strait, the greatest country music artist ever, wrote very few of those songs. He's taking somebody else's story and brilliantly portraying it and moving people. So I don't think I need to have been born on a farm or even in America to be able to take or even write a story and move people with it. Any more than, let's say, Tom Hanks was never, he was never on a desert island, and he never went to space and didn't have AIDS and all those other movies that he portrayed so brilliantly.
Right. Yeah, it's really like do you believe, is it being put across that way? But I mean, yeah, it's obvious this music is where your heart is, and that's what everyone should be.
Right.
Right. You shouldn't and it should not be dictated by, well, I was born here, I should do this, or right. It should be, this is the music that speaks to me.
Right.
And that's what you should create and why.
Yeah.
Do you, I don't know, I feel like I've worked with people, even Texans, who don't talk with a Southern accent. The minute they're on stage, they tend to talk with a little bit of a drawl, and I don't even know if they're consciously doing it.
Right.
And then for sure sing.
Yeah.
With a little bit of it. And I think that's like kind of a part of the music anyway.
Yeah.
It's something I personally try not to do, or it's like something like George Jones songs or something. It is hard to sing those songs and not want to be George and not just turn in a really bad impression.
Right.
And so I really try if I'm singing one of those songs to just go, I'm never in my wildest dreams going to be able to sing like that.
Right.
So I'm just going to put it across the best I can.
Right. Well, as you know, obviously I sing in an American accent because I have to. It would sound absolutely ridiculous if I sang country music in an English accent. It would sound really stupid.
Yeah.
So I sing in an American accent for kind of a generic thing. And every single show, people come up to me and they're like, how do you do that? How do you talk in this accent and sing in that accent? And it's not just country music where people do this. Every genre of music where you hear an English person. I mean, a lot of times American folks don't even realize they're listening to English bands from back in the 70s and 80s. Like a lot of those bands were English bands singing in an American accent. And I like to think,
I've heard American bands sing in a British accent.
You have?
Oh yeah.
When it like for punk and stuff like that.
Well, I haven't heard it. Rhett Miller, old 97s.
Yeah,
they're Texas, kind of a cow punk band.
Yeah.
He has claimed there is a recording out there of his earliest stuff where he sang in a British accent, to sound more like David Bowie or
right,
or whatever it was.
Certain genres, English accent. In English accent has very harsh consonants, and as a wave, it would look very, very sharp. The vowels are very open and the consonants are very hard, and it doesn't sing very well when you're trying to sound romantic, for instance. It doesn't. It doesn't sing that way. An American accent, the words very smoothly just roll one into the other, and
something with the drawl.
It's very musical.
Yeah,
it's a lovely musical accent to sing in, and none of us, and I don't think I'm going to sing in my American accent now. It feels much weirder for me to sing in an English accent. And when I'm singing in an English accent for a joke, I find myself really exaggerating the English accent.
Yeah.
I'm not me. And all I'm trying to do is just sound English, but it sounds exaggerated because it's not natural to me at all.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about with the Texans trying to sound country.
Right.
It's like, you're plenty country, buddy. You don't need any more.
Right.
Even though they might not talk with that accent, but I do think, and every genre has a way you dress and kind of a way you talk, and like there's that goes for everything. I had a hard time getting into punk music as a kid because I was like, everyone I knew who was into punk, that's all they were into, and I was like, I don't want to dress like that. I don't want to, it's too many safety pins involved. Like I don't need to get into that. So, I think we've all we're all doing a little bit of, acting or dressing up.
Right.
Hopefully it just doesn't come off as, disingenuous or inauthentic, but yeah, it's an interesting one, especially, because I did, we did a gig together at the end of the year at a Christmas party.
That's right.
And, I didn't know you're British. And so to get, to come meet you and then I actually walked in, you're singing,
okay,
and then start talking and like, okay, he's a Brit. Cool. But, didn't think anything else of it other than, I did have a bit of a Brit who likes country music. Awesome. And you hopefully wouldn't do anything in case you didn't love it. What was your father's music then?
He liked all the real old stuff. He was actually a professional songwriter himself, but by the time I was a child, he was singing in covers bands, and it would be, his voice was very much like Jim Reeves, like velvety, low, just gorgeous voice. I don't have a voice anywhere close to that. It's very different.
You have recordings? Did he record?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. And it's lovely to have that too. But he was into the old stuff. He loved Merle Haggard and Johnny Cash and Buck Owens and all that kind of stuff. He also had a radio show every week on a Sunday. He had 4 hours on BBC Essex radio, and at that point in history, there was very little country music being played on radio in Britain. And so the record labels would send him tons and tons of initially vinyl and then CDs to play. And it would be so this was the 80s, and it would be like Thomas Conley and Alabama and Restless Heart and acts like that were big in the 80s. And my dad would take one listen to, let's say, Alabama, take one listen, and he'd be like, I'm not playing that. And I'm like, I love this. Why won't you play it? He's like, that's not country.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He would say that's not country about Alabama. And you listen to Alabama now, nothing could sound more country now. And it makes me wonder, in 30 years' time, are people going to look back at, Sam Hunt and Morgan Wallen and think, wow, nothing could be more country than that?
Oh, certainly. Yes. Yes. It's nuts.
It just seems so bizarre to me.
Well, it's, I'm taking this from, Tyler Mahan Coe, the Cocaine and Rhinestones, podcast host, but he was like, at the time that Garth Brooks was coming out, everyone's old man said, this is not country. And, right. But to listen to it now and compare it to what's going on now, he might as well be Buck Owens and the Buckaroos, because you're like, well, that absolutely is. But, I often joke that at some point, someone was playing Hank Williams in their room and their dad bust in and said, what is that crap? That is not country.
Yeah.
Someone at some point, all the way down the line,
no doubt,
someone's dad. It's always someone's dad going, no, that ain't it.
What was great for me though, is that the BBC Radio only had that one country show. So none of the other DJs were going to play this country collection. So the radio station would say to my dad, look, you can just have all that. Just take it. We're never going to use that. And so he would bring home all these amazing albums.
I can't imagine.
And that's where when I really started getting into harmony, was when he started bringing Restless Heart albums home, which he was like, there's absolutely no way I'm playing that. That's pop music. But the harmonies were just exquisite. And I really was very inspired by the albums that he was bringing home and refusing to play.
Don't we think with the Alabama thing, like that's just, I've always thought that country kind of was like just a sort of a step behind rock and sort of taking the things that they wanted from it. And to me, Alabama was just the Eagles, right? Just being like, this works. There is a little bit of a rock element to it. Yeah. And I mean, it sounds very country because that was my first favorite band. Yeah. Because my parents were into it because they were Eagles fans. Right. And right around the time the Eagles broke up, there was a country band coming in right behind them with that sound. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but you could see there's an obvious incredible stepping stone.
I love Alabama.
Yeah,
just
right.
Unbelievable.
So, no offense to your old man, but
no. It's just, that's just what happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm literally, when people ask me about Sam Hunt or Thomas Rhett or any of those acts that are using those trap beats and those really like Morgan Wallen, those digitized hi-hats, drives me mental. I mean, sure.
It's not for us. We're too old.
In my opinion, that has absolutely no place in country music whatsoever. But my dad would have been like, in his opinion, there's no place for any like rock style drums. Right. It was the same thing was happening to him.
Exactly that. But is there distortion on that guitar?
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's out.
Yeah.
Is that a keyboard? Yeah. Is that a synthesizer? Gone. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. I feel like they keep kind of it just sort of keeps like unwinding a little bit and getting a little further from, and I think it's when maybe you have to be a dad. And
I know I'm getting old
to decide. Yeah, that's not it. But yeah, I think probably in another 30 years, there'll be something else.
I keep hoping it'll come back around again, and it keeps threatening to. It never quite takes a hold. I'm hoping this time, we've got Zach Top coming in, leading the charge, and some other similar awesome acts. And
there's obviously an audience for that. Yeah, and I even see the kids getting into it. Yeah. I'm around enough young people to know that but those kids also are, they know the classic stuff too. And that was, it's like, well, now that's somewhat of a novelty, right? Or a throwback or something is like, well, here's this kid making stuff that sounds like 90s country. Yeah. And good on him. He get it while it's hot right now. It does seem to be kind of back in fashion.
Yes. Thankfully.
Yeah. So, man, I think you'll do well out here. I'm excited to,
thank you, mate.
Monitor your progress. And help out in any way. I look forward to playing with you again.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, mate.
Are you working on anything moving? Like, are you writing tunes? You going to write another record? What's going on?
I've got so many tunes ready to be recorded. It's literally finding time at this point in my life. But I am very close to releasing my next single. I think the next single is going to be a song called There's Always Love. It's a song I wrote a long time ago, but it's got a lovely message, and it's an embellishment of my childhood. I think is why I love it so much. But so that'll be coming out fairly soon. And this year, I'm going to really start churning out some songs. That's my New Year's resolution.
When in Texas, be a Texas singer-songwriter, right?
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to change my style. I'm just going to do me, and I just hope that everybody embraces me. I'm not going to do anything that doesn't feel natural to me. I'm just going to keep doing me, and hopefully Texas will welcome me in. And
then the duo
Royal South with my wife. That's quite special. That's next level. I mean, really, you guys should check that out. Royal South. My wife is an amazing singer.
We'll try and have you guys back together.
That'd be great.
Have you guys perform here and hopefully get to talk to her and hear her story as well.
Great. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.